ordinary moments that people may not notice when they're moving so fast. Daily life becomes cinematic.
What's good about having a good autofocus is that you don't have to worry about the technical aspect of the shot. Instead, you can focus more on the situation itself. I think what I like most about the camera is how compact and light it is, yet it does not limit you. Color brings out emotions.
It gives you a sense of individuality to a scene that maybe complements your own personality. If I had this camera starting out, it probably would have helped me a lot. Is a camera complicated to use? It doesn't have to be.
It's just you and your subject. Intimate, no distractions.
It's like seeing the world in a new way.
Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight as we celebrate International Women's Day with this distinguished panel of badass women photographers. I will be the moderator tonight, and I would officially like to welcome Viktoria, Tzara, Veronique, Jenny, and Monika. On behalf of all of us, I would like to extend a big thank you to Nikon Canada for hosting this live event to honor the contributions of Canadian women in photography. Yay! I just flew in from Patagonia this morning, so I hope my brain cells are working enough to get through this tonight. I don't have a little snooze in between. No, I promise you, it's going to be so exciting. I know we're all scattered across the country, across the globe tonight. Jenny's in Taiwan. Viktoria, you're in Tofino, Tzara and Veronique, Montreal, and Monika, you're in Canmore. So it's pretty cool and pretty remarkable that we could all come together for this night of inspiration, right? When you think of how busy we are, how spread out we are, but that's what we do. We make things happen. So I'm just going to start out explaining the layout for tonight. And I will first start with introducing the distinguished panelists. And then I've challenged each Nikon ambassador to share and discuss just one image. And you're asking somebody who lives their life in photography to choose just one image. That's not an easy task to do, for sure. I can't wait to see what images you're all going to be sharing tonight, actually. And after the image reveals and discussions, I prepared some tailored questions for each of the panelists to find out more about them, their careers, and their inspiration. And then we will finally open the floor to you, our audience, for questions. Hopefully we'll have time. Chris mentioned that we were chatterboxes. I mean, I don't, do you guys believe that? I don't. No. Anyway, I'm certain it will be an unforgettable evening. So I just thought I would explain a little bit about me as a moderator tonight. It's wonderful to be with all of you. And I have been a professional photographer for 40 years, so maybe longer than a couple of you that have been maybe not 40 yet. Anyway, it's hard to believe that I can actually say that number. Like, it's really, really hard to believe. My journey in photography began of course, I was very, 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 very young when I started my career in a male-dominated industry. And I will admit, though, it hasn't been an easy career, but certainly one of the most rewarding ones. And not a second goes by that I'm not thankful to be a professional photographer. In order to make a living in photography as a young entrepreneur, I had to adapt and learn to every kind of genre. And there wasn't anything I said no to. I mean, really, right? You had to make money, you had to make a career. And if I didn't know what it was involved, like product, I hated product photography. I wasn't very good at it, but I had to figure it out, right? We had to do what we had to do to make a living. That's what it's all about. And 12 years ago, I became one of the first Nikon ambassadors in Canada. And having used Nikon for my entire career, it was a defining and a special moment for me. And throughout my career, I've been supported by so many amazing women in my life. And I think it's really important for me to return that support to my community and to the women in my life, however I can. And I know you all share in that drive as well. And another number that I'm going to throw out, and it's pretty cool because it was 25 years ago today on International Women's Day that I launched my second book called Dare to Dream, a celebration of Canadian women. So I think it's pretty special to be here with all of you tonight on the anniversary of that book launch. Again, it's really hard to believe that it's 25 years. It's incredible. Photography has given me a life of deep connections to people, to wildlife, to landscape, to Canada and beyond. It's more than just capturing moments. It's about telling stories that matter. It's about seeing and being seen. And I'm honored to be the moderator tonight with these incredible women who are my colleagues and my friends. See, we did this earlier. Can we? I love you guys.
It's an honor to be presented by you today. It's really an honor.
Awesome. So let's get started. So I'm going to do an intro on each of you, and no particular order, but I'm going to start with Viktoria Hack. And there's a certain magic in the way she sees the world. Her work is more than just photography. It's a quiet meditation, a soulful connection between subject and landscape. With a background in fine art, her images feel intentional, poetic, and deeply immersive. Viktoria just doesn't capture moments, she crafts them, layering emotion, texture, and light in a way that makes you feel something. Her work is a testament to the beauty found in simplicity and to the undeniable impact of a photographer who sees beyond the obvious. Whether she's photographing the wild landscapes she calls home, intimate portraits, or the delicate interplay between humans and nature, Viktoria's images invite us to pause, reflect, and truly see. Your work inspires me, Vic, every day. And just for you, in Patagonia, I broke out my filters and I did some long exposures.
Oh, thank you so much, Michelle. That was really nice. Thank you.
It's so important, right, for all of us to continue going out of our comfort zones. And no matter where you are in your career, if you're new to photography or if you're far into it or in the middle, wherever you are, always stretching those boundaries and going out of your comfort zone, right? And I think that is what we all do. Monika Deviat is a force, both behind the camera and in the way she approaches the world. Her work is bold, dynamic, and deeply connected to the raw power of nature. With a background in physics and music, she brings a unique blend of precision and creativity to her photography, capturing landscapes, night skies, and adventure in a way that feels both untamed and meticulously composed. Monika doesn't document moments. She immerses herself in them, often venturing into the wildest, darkest, and most challenging environments to bring back images that leave us in awe. She's an explorer, a storyteller, and a passionate advocate for sharing knowledge, constantly inspiring others to push past their own boundaries, what I just said. And Monika, I just recently found out that you're a pole dancer.
Yeah, I own a pole and aerial studio. I've been teaching that for about 15 years.
How did I not know that?
I don't know. That's usually one of the first things people ask me about.
I don't know. I feel embarrassed, but now I want to know more.
Oh, well, we can do like a team building class. We can bring all the Nikon people to my studio. Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's do it. Let's do it. I would also like to climb mountains with you and photograph the dark skies or the northern lights, but the problem is I get really bad altitude sickness. So
we're not that high here, I guess.
Oh, right. Well, you don't know.
We can try carefully.
All right, maybe pole dancing versus climbing mountains. I can't believe that just came out of my mouth. Oh my goodness. Oh, we're such a group of characters. It's awesome. Tzara Maud is a storyteller, a visual poet, and a photographer who sees beyond the surface. Her work is immersive and evocative, blending emotion, artistry, and a deep sense of narrative. Whether she's capturing the quiet strength of a portrait, the raw beauty of nature, or the essence of a fleeting moment, her images resonate on a deeply personal level. Tzara's approach to photography is intuitive, and she doesn't just take photos. She creates experiences. Her work invites us to pause, reflect, and feel, to connect with the world, the subject, and the emotion behind the frame. With a keen eye for detail and a sensitivity to light and shadow, she transforms ordinary moments into something extraordinary. Your passion for visual storytelling extends beyond the image itself. It's about the stories we tell, the perspectives we share, and the emotions we evoke. And I can't wait to hear more about your creative spirit, Tzara.
Wow, I really need to ask you to tell me that again so I can put in my bio and my website.
All right.
Wow, that's an amazing description of my work. Thank you very much. It touched me a lot. Really.
You're welcome. It's easy to say what you've done and how long, and it's nice to get. And that's what I did with Dare to Dream. Actually, I asked the person that I was photographing to ask somebody important to them to write their bio. And it's not necessarily about what they've done, what they've accomplished, but just the heartfelt feel of who you are. And
it's a real difficult work to do an auto-portrait of our own work, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow, I think you're the first one who puts words like this on my work that touches me so much and sounds like it, that feels like so correct with what I am trying to express, which is not always clear in my mind. But thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'm just honored to do this. Veronique Duplain is, sorry, my French accent is not very good. Okay. All right. Veronique is a Montreal-based photographer, a fearless creative, and a true innovator in the world of visual storytelling. You're entirely self-taught. Am I correct on that? Yeah, that's amazing. She explored multiple genres of photography before dedicating herself to the art of composition, most notably through her selfie project. Veronique places herself at the center of different narrative universes, creating a new thought-provoking self-portrait every day from the entire month of February. That I watched you last month, and it was unbelievable. Your work is bold, imaginative, and strikingly original, blurring the lines between photography, fine art, and conceptual storytelling. She thrives on experimentation, embracing new techniques and technologies to push creative boundaries. And each image is more than a photograph. It's an experience and an idea brought to life with masterful precision and fearless artistry. You are a creative force, and I can't wait to hear more about your work tonight. And Jenny
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Oh, wait.
Yes.
Those for all of you. Jenny Wong is an adventurer at heart. I mean, she's in Taiwan in the airport right now with us tonight. She's fearless, passionate, and deeply committed to telling the stories of our planet. As a photographer, filmmaker, and storyteller, she has carved a path that takes her to some of the most remote and extreme environments on Earth. Jenny thrives on the icy expanse and the rugged landscapes of the high Arctic, and it extends well beyond there as well. Her work isn't just about capturing breathtaking images. It's about connection to the environment, to the wildlife that inhabits it, and to the urgent stories that need to be told. Jenny uses her lens to bridge the gap between science, conservation, and visual storytelling, bringing to light the beauty and fragility of our natural world. With an insatiable curiosity and unyielding drive to push beyond the known, Jenny reminds us that photography isn't just about what we see, it's about what we experience and engage with the world around us. And Jenny, you and I share a real love affair with the Arctic. So thank you for joining us from the airport.
Tears to my eyes. Michelle Valberg, saying something about my work. Seriously.
Great.
My inspiration. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome. Okay, so now it's time to dive into the images. Let's get to the nitty gritty. I'm sure it was a challenge choosing just one. I asked you to choose one, and I left it wide open with no instruction. I asked for an image that is meaningful to you, maybe a pivotal career moment, an award-winning shot, or an image that has been a staple in your journey. So I can't wait to dive in here and give our audience a flavor of who you are and what kind of image that you would like to share with us. So we're going to start with Victoria. And I'll ask you, Victoria, I adore this image. And if you can just tell us a little bit about this image and why you chose it.
Thanks, Michelle. This one was taken in the Rockies, and it was actually taken during a time when there was wildfire smoke drifting up from the States. And I debated whether or not to head into this spot. There was a hike to get there. It's a place that you have to, it's kind of a lottery system to be able to get a place to go. I'd managed to get a place to go, but the wildfire smoke was so thick that I really debated, you know, should I go? Should I not go? In the end, I decided to go. And with that came the benefit of having the place almost to myself. And despite the conditions, the wildfire smoke helped to really kind of soften the landscape and create this really ethereal kind of feel. And so this image really is one that reminds me to, you know, because I've done a lot of pre-planning at certain stages of my career when it comes to interacting with my subject. But this takes me back to the start of my photography journey, when I would just go out and really have a very genuine connection with the landscape, reacting to what nature presented or what my subject presented. So I picked this one just because it is that reminder for me of that genuine connection. And then when I actually feel a bit lost sometimes with my journey, or whether if I feel uninspired, I always try to remember why I first picked up my camera. And this image is one of those images that reminds me why.
Oh, it's beautiful. And it's amazing to think that the smoke from the fires created that ethereal look to the image. I didn't know that part of the story. Beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a very pleasant reason for the kind of atmospherics, but you know, out of an unpleasant situation, sometimes there are still, you know, good things that can come of it if you just take the opportunity anyway.
Yeah, and you took a chance. You went out, you know, when nobody else would be there, and you went with not as much intention as you typically do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's just a reminder of that, you know, initial reason why I picked up my camera, which was that just a genuine connection with a subject.
Fantastic.
Beautiful.
All right, Monika.
Yeah. Okay. So this is brushstroke. I took it in Utsjoki, Finland, probably one of the best places I've gone for aurora. We'd been shooting for hours. We had the full sky aurora, pinks, reds, along with the usual greens that we see. And towards the end of the night, I saw this kind of shape starting to form. And it's an abstract, but it's not your typical corona, which makes it special to me. But it's also shot at 14 millimeters, and that was as wide as I can go. It just filled the screen. But it's also sort of one of those pivotal images, I guess. This won the Astronomy Photographer of the Year for the Aurora category in 2023. And so that was pretty cool. The Royal Museum's Greenwich actually chose me out of all the shortlisted people, and 2 others to do like a little documentary on it. And that meant a lot for me because they also wanted to do it to help promote women and girls in astronomy and astrophotography. And then it's also, that film led me to do my maybe first BBC documentary about light pollution and preserving our dark skies.
Amazing. Beautiful. And I love that you have access to so many different aurora, especially in Calgary and the mountains. And, you know, when you see the colors and the reds and the oranges and the yellows, and I mean, you know, it can light up, the pinks light up the entire sky. This beauty, this simplicity, you know, beautiful form that goes from top to the bottom in a vertical format. So many people are when you see aurora, they're almost all horizontal. The beautiful simplicity, gorgeous image.
Thank you.
Very feminine, right?
Yeah, actually the filmmaker from Royal Museum's Greenwich, he was like, "Can you do a pole dance move that looks like this?" And I was like, maybe.
You did, Monika. I remember seeing the video, and it does look like that.
So did you actually do it for the film, like a pole?
Yeah, it's the ending. He has me on the pole doing the shape, and then he like fades it into the picture.
Okay, I so have to watch that. That is awesome. Oh my goodness, that's great. All right, Jenny. we'll throw up your image.
Wow. This was my first polar bear on the sea. I think a lot of people see their first polar bear often in Churchill. But for me, it was like a commute 400 kilometers on sea ice from Clyde River to Pond Inlet. It was my first time in the Arctic. It was my first time on sea ice. I had no idea what to anticipate, and we only saw one bear, but it was really, really special, and it kind of changed my perspective about conservation and coexistence. I think our Canadian Arctic is very, very unique in Canada because people live there. And there's like, when we talk about conservation, I think having that intersection of coexistence is really, really important. And this trip really taught me that when I had to commute 3 days on sea ice, camping with two guys in a tent. You had to pee in front of them. You had to do everything in front of them. So yeah, this trip meant a lot to me, taught me a lot, and it changed my career for sure.
And interesting, Jenny, because Pond Inlet, sea ice, flow edge changed my career too. And when I look at this, I can feel where you are. And I remember perfectly my first polar bear as well. Pretty significant. And you've continued to go back, and your aspiration to do more for these species, this species in particular, but for the Arctic as well. I just thank you for all the work that you're doing.
Inspired by you.
You are badasses.
Love affair. Oh, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. I was hoping that it would be a polar bear. And knowing it's your first, that's awesome. All right, Veronique.
It's interesting.
Badass, yeah.
I was so on the how can I say anyway, I didn't know which image to choose as my image that I will showcase in that event today, so I changed it 3 times. I didn't know which one would appear on screen, so this is a little bit of a surprise for me, but I'm very happy. This one is the first image of the last edition of my selfie project, a project where I take one selfie every day for the month of February, like you said earlier. So this one is the first image of the 12th edition, the one that just finished 6 days ago. So I'm very happy with this image. It was challenging. It was just jumping out and trying to figure out how you'll get down there, build your parachute on the way down. So that's the image. And it's so representative of who I am and how I do things. So yeah.
Do you have, well, I'm going to ask you that question later. Okay. Well, I have that in my notes. So we're going to come back to this, but I mean, every single day, your imagination, your creativity is just, it's beyond, it's so inspiring, and I marvel at your creativity. I have no words. Just
thank you. It's Monday. I'm still recovering from it.
I can only. It's a good thing you picked the shortest month. Was that intentional? It's intentional.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness. Oh, fantastic. Amazing.
Thank you.
All right, and Tzara. Wow.
Well, thank you. Just by the way, Veronique, I'm pretty, congrats for finishing this month live. I know it's a lot of work for you. So just by the way, wanted to say that to my friend here in Montreal. Okay, this picture is, for me, it's not a picture that changed my career. It's a picture that changed my way of seeing life. As I think, with that picture, I start to see how photography is linked to with the way you can live your life and how you can see and evolve in your life. So with that pictures, especially because of the behind the scene of that picture, I can say that from that moment that I did that picture, which is, by the way, a woman on the horse, I can say that at that moment, I realized that whatever happens in life, you can go through it, and you can make something beautiful about it. So I'm not going to tell you everything behind right now, the scene and everything, but it's an image that I think it's a scene movie. It's something that happened to me. There's nothing that was prepared, contrary to Victoria, that prepares a lot of things. I'm more into like what bring me what life brings me, and I'll make something with it. As Veronique just said, like how do you say, build your parachute while you're down, while you're going down. I think that it's this picture is more like it represents a lot. It represents a lot my way of seeing photography and living my life. So that's why I show it to you.
Wonderful. That's amazing. It's interesting how we can have, and that's gonna bend into my first question for all of you. But it's interesting, right? When you are challenged with finding that one image, and your choices, and it might change. If I asked you a month from now, or if I asked you 10 years ago, or if I ask you in 10 years, it'd be interesting to see how one image can really make a difference. And really that goes into my first question, and the question for all of you, and I would like to start with Jenny on this one. When did you first realize photography was more than just a passion for you? And was there a moment when you were totally hooked? I mean, was it that polar bear? Did it come before that? What took you to get that photo of the polar bear?
I think it happened organically for me. Like, I didn't choose photography and pick up a camera. I was traveling a lot, had it as a paperweight in my bag, essentially. Helped a lot of people fix a lot of trips that were photographers, and then stood in their photos, climbed mountains for them so that I could be their little tiny human. Eventually that got boring. Like, you're just standing there. So naturally I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'll use my camera, and I guess they'll teach me. And it kind of just one step at a time. I think with life experience, you decide on what's important to you and what kind of photographer you want to be. And I think that happened in progression of becoming a photographer. Like,
so you
life
were a model.
led me there.
You were a model. You were modeling, or you were on the other side of the camera.
Yeah, I was helping people with trips. So it's just like, oh, you need me to climb that, you need me to be a human scale or whatever. Yeah, I'll go and do that for you. But eventually, like, that led me to more and more places, and then I started helping with the shoots, and then I became a photographer, I guess. And then I was in the Arctic, fell in love, and I do have a science background as well, so I'm really, really nerdy, read a lot, became obsessed with polar bears, the Arctic, climate change, activism. So that kind of, I think things just happened.
And you also allowed it to happen, and you embraced it. I mean, that's the other thing. A lot of times I think stuff can hit you in the face over and over again until you're ready and you're able to accept and bring it into your life. I mean, that's a wonderful thing that you embraced it and you went with it in a career that's not, let's face it, it's not an easy career to be a photographer, right?
Yeah, like, I think also when you think about this idea of why you take a photo, and I think life gave me a reason to pick up the camera, right? And that's the inspiration, is like the life that I see, the experiences that I see, the people that I meet, and the wildlife that you see. All of those things inspire me to pick up the camera, essentially.
Yeah. And open your world, right?
Yeah.
Imagine life without it. It's a lifeline, right? I think we all think of photography as a lifeline. Thank you. And Monika, how about you? Do you have a defining, well, we already kind of went through it with your image, but was there a moment when you really felt you were totally hooked?
Yeah, I think my first Milky Way image. So I shot concerts mostly for quite a few years, not even part-time, like casually, because I would really only do heavy metal. I didn't want to do other genres. But yeah, when I took my first Milky Way photo, it was really not something I thought to do, even though I like studied physics and hung out with astrophysicists and like just the thought that a little DSLR could take a picture of the galaxy and how cool that would be. That definitely hooked me in. And
So who brought you there? How did you get there?
I found a stranger on the internet.
I want to know more. Right, girls?
Yes.
What?
So I was on vacation with my family in Penticton, and I was thinking, oh, maybe I'll try like some sunrise sunsets. You know, I didn't really do landscapes or anything at the time. And I came across this guy that was doing Milky Way photos. I literally knew nothing about it. I was just like, oh, that's cool. So I emailed him and I was like, would you take me out? And he agreed. And so we went out in the middle of nowhere with 2 other people. And yeah, nobody died. It's good.
I love it. Was he cute? Like, did anything happen there?
So, okay, we did it very safely. I went and like met him and his wife, and like my parents knew where I was going, and like, yeah.
All right. Yeah, going out in the dark into the mountains with people you don't know.
No reception. It's also safe.
And then did you think that you would could you find a career in night photography, or did it just, did it explode for you, or was it kind of a slow path?
I think for like the first year or 2 doing like basically nature photography, but like a ton of night photography, it was just for me. And then I'm not even 100% sure how it started, but I started giving like talks and workshops, and then all of a sudden I'm doing it full time.
Oh, that's so fantastic. Amazing. All right, Tzara.
Yes, I'm there.
Same question. I'm doing this question for everyone.
Sure.
If there was a moment you felt totally hooked, like, do you remember that? Or was it a slow progression, or how did it happen for you for photography?
Well, I could say that just life bring me in photography, because when I was in college, I wanted to be an actress. I wanted to play in movies and everything. I always wanted to have to live all the lives I could live. So I wanted to be an actress, to live all the life and be an adventurer and everything. That was my vision when I was a kid. I wanted to do, and I was working in a shoe store like in the weekends and everything. And next to the shoe store, there was like a coffee, and in this coffee there was like a group of press photographers that were standing there working their work. And I didn't knew it at that time, but I just went to go buy my coffees over there when it was a break for me to work in the shoe store. And I started to talk with the photographers, and I asked if they do pictures of me and everything. And I started to be friends with them. And then they started to ask me questions and test me on photography. Like, I remember one guy saying like how many lights I used on that photograph. And I was the only one who get the good answers when I wasn't even in photography. So I started to take an old camera with me and start to take picture. And then I realized that they were living the life I wanted to live. They were going in Africa shooting elephants. They were living like they were doing pictures of presidents. They were like moving everywhere in the world, having full of adventures. And I think that's when I've been really hooked. And I started to learn by myself, and I started to get to process to how I could do my own portfolio. And then I created my own path into press photography and photojournalism. So,
Amazing.
but it's a long story, but I just say that it's there that I've been hooked.
So did you ever do any acting? Like, did you ever get into that, or did you just?
Yeah, but I was in how do you call this, theaters more than I wish. Actually, at that time, I didn't knew the difference between being it sounds silly, but I didn't knew the difference being an actress in theater and being an actress in a TV show. And I wanted to be an actress in a TV show or a TV or cinema, like movies. But I had to do my schooling in theater, so I thought it was really, really boring to repeat the same thing for like 6 months. So I guess that wasn't the life I wanted to. But yes, I did act a little bit. A boy, I did. My best role was me acting as a man. That was my best role.
I can't quite see that.
Oh yeah, what?
Is there a YouTube on that, or?
Nope. Thank God that there was not. I think YouTube didn't exist at that time. Oh my god.
Yeah, I didn't dig deep enough. I could have put that in your bio too.
Just send me what you said. What you said was perfect.
Oh, well, I love finding out more about you guys. It's awesome. Thank you. And Victoria, how about for you?
Well, I was really interested in the arts when I was at school, and I went to art college, but ended up doing art history. And then once I'd finished my degree, I moved to a small island in the UK, which was only 500 acres in size. And when I lived there, I was walking the same pathways on a really regular basis. I would go out with my dog in the morning and take him for a walk. And with only 500 acres, you see the same stuff over and over again. But I would notice how the pathways and the areas that I knew so well would be different at different times of the year, in different weather conditions, with different light. And I started to want to record what I was seeing, you know. And so that's really kind of where I was hooked into photography. And then from then on, I basically photographed everything within my small world of 500 acres. So my child, my husband, my dog, you know, the wildlife on the island. And I was pretty much self-taught. I didn't, you know, living on that island, I couldn't go to college or something. I was using the internet quite a lot to try and learn stuff about photography, and I was shooting film at the time as well. So I'd have to like write settings in a little book and then wait to get my film back from the developer and then see what mistakes I'd made and try and, you know, figure out and learn that way. But yeah, so living on the island really kind of hooked me in, just wanting to record, you know, the stuff that I saw on a regular basis, but how these small things changed.
Did you find that you actually, it sounds like you went back, you recorded your settings and then you compared them to the photos that you took?
Yeah.
That's pretty remarkable, because when you think about how instantaneous it is now.
Yeah. Certainly, the learning curve was that much faster once, you know, DSLRs came out, and I was, do I switch to a DSLR? And but when I did, like, I learned so much faster. It was so quick, because, you know, you'd put your film in, and then I lived on an island. I'd wait for a week to go and pick it up sometimes.
Week, it's not more. I seem to remember waiting a lot longer for film. Yeah, but I was never the person that actually went back and looked at my settings. I would write them down. I would do all that, but then I would get the films back, and then I would all of that would go.
Oh, yeah, no, I felt like I needed to figure out, you know, what went wrong, you know, how can I, you know, why did this one work? And then look at it and try and figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you can, right now with mirrorless, right? You're seeing everything live, you're adjusting your settings constantly.
Yeah. Like, mirrorless is even faster than the DSLR, because you're seeing it in the, you know, as you're shooting. It's like you see it's overexposed, or
pretty remarkable, the changes. Oh, that's awesome. Well, thank you. And how about you, Veronique?
For me, it was a precise moment. So I started doing iPhoneography with my iPhone when it just came out, maybe 2012. And so with friends, we will walk in the city, take pictures of the city, and I loved it, you know. And my two friends with who I was doing that, they bought a mirrorless camera, and they said, Vero, you should buy one. And, you know, it's expensive. Cameras are expensive. Let's say this. I'll wait. And so one of my friends encouraged me to buy just the body, and he will lend me the lens. And so I did that, and I fell in love hard. And so after that, my next action was to think, okay, how can I be a professional photographer? And the answer was, I need to learn how to take portraits. Like, that was like the logical answer. So that's why I started the project 12 years ago in 2014. So that was the precise moment where I fell hard in love with photography, by being creative, by being myself, by being, you know, out of this world. Just with a little device, you know. It's such a cool thing. I love it.
And so much better than an iPhone.
Oh yes, I can do so much more. So yeah, I remember when I got my first body, I remember spending 1 month not being able to sleep, just trying to figure out how I can control my ISO in relationship to the aperture and everything with the speed. So I spent 1 month not sleeping, just at night in the streets, just trying to figure out how does the camera work. And I did. I'm glad I did.
Yeah, well, clearly you did. I have no doubt. Oh my goodness, that's so awesome. All right, so next question is for Victoria and Monika. And I want to know how you support other women photographers in the field, and how has community shaped your journey?
Well,
I'll go first.
you want me to go first?
Sure.
I'm leaving it open for both of you. I'm not telling you who's first.
You just jump in, Monika. If you, but yeah, how do you support other? Well, at the moment, I'm running a women-specific workshop in Tofino, so I think that is obviously hopefully that workshop is just about to start. I'm hoping to really support those women in their journey and to make sure that they feel safe to answer any questions without feeling foolish, or so that I can help them with their creativity as well as their functionality of understanding, some of the technical aspects, that kind of stuff, to help them to kind of realize their vision. So things like workshops, which Monika and I run a number of workshops together as well, don't we? You can speak too.
Okay. My turn.
First question though, for Victoria. So how many women do you have?
So we've got, I'm co-leading with a photographer called Anna Morgan, and we have 10 women with us in Tofino. So yeah, we're just about to kick off the workshop. The forecast is for a lot of rain just coming up, but part of what we want to help people with is, how do you work in those kind of conditions? It isn't always about having perfect conditions. So, how do you still find images? And I think, some of the other things that we want to help to support them with is things like, the equipment. How do you keep cameras dry? How do you, all the different things, just enabling them to feel comfortable enough to ask questions that might be deemed to be kind of stupid, but they're not, just to help more women to move into the field of landscape and nature photography, because we are, I think, underrepresented. So yeah.
More and more women though are discovering photography or moving into very serious amateur or professional.
Oh yeah,
it's
absolutely.
wonderful to see. And you're building a community, like a family, right?
Absolutely. And I think that's part of what is missing sometimes is that connectivity for other women, to find other women that they can potentially go out with or ask questions of. Without having that connectivity, it's difficult sometimes for them to move forward, and especially within landscape and nature photography, where there do seem, or have in the past seemed to be, more men. That connection has been quite difficult for women.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's fantastic. Well, I wish you a wonderful workshop, and
you.
please, from all of us, say hello to all of your participants, and I'm sure they're going to have a grand, wonderful time and full of creativity. So
thank you. Thank you.
Wonderful. All right, Monika.
Well, to kind of go off Victoria's last points, I think visibility is important. So Michelle, you mentioned at the beginning, when you started in photography, it was very male dominated. Well, I was in physics. It was also very male dominated, but my year was actually a bit weird because we had 50% women.
What?
And I have a friend group. We just call ourselves Team Physics. It's all women, all Eastern European women. So we're nerdy and we make pierogies together. And I think that really helped us get through university. But yeah, I think being visible is important. Victoria and I are both very introverted, and I'm not sure that this is actually helpful, but we're both each other's kind of support when we're giving presentations. But I also feel like sometimes the anxiety just like bounces back and forth when we're presenting at the same event. But I know I've received some really heartfelt comments from people saying that they really appreciated seeing women on stage. And I know our friend Shane Turgeon, you spoke at Light Chasers last year, Michelle. He's really good at creating a diverse lineup of speakers, and I think that's super important.
Yeah, and Jenny, you're speaking at Light Chasers.
Yeah, Jenny's this year.
Too. And all three of you are there.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, well, thank you. Okay, so this is a question for Tzara and Jenny. What's the wildest or most unexpected place your camera has taken you? Tzara, we'll start with you.
Wow. Can I think about it? Let's just for 2 seconds ask Jenny.
I know what Jenny's going to say somehow.
Well, ask Jenny first then.
I think it's got to be the ice, the sea ice, always. I never expected to be able to do one trip, let alone so many trips, and then on top of that, being able to be on Buggy One with Polar Bears International and getting to work with scientists and see what they do inside the homes of like Inuit communities and being invited into their homes to have conversations, as well as take images of them. Those moments, I think, are probably like the most special places that my camera has taken me, for sure.
Well, and when you're on the sea ice, everything changes, right? You're not only trying to create and be creative, but you're also trying to survive. And you might be cold. You're with men, going, to the washroom is a completely different scenario. Keeping your cameras, keeping your batteries charging, downloading, basic survival, and yeah, it's a whole different ballgame, right? When you're in these extreme climates or in these extreme places. And Monika, no different than you being out in the middle of the night in a mountain. That I think is just amazing when you're able to extend. It's what I talked about a little bit at the beginning. It's the experience, right? And growing as yourself in these extreme places, and really pushing your boundaries to not only survive but create. And that's not easy, right? When you're trying to be creative and you're trying to survive. And when you go spend a week on the ice and you'll in the high Arctic, and it's a whole different ballgame. No. So good on you.
I would say that like when I think about that sea ice experience and everything, like and survival, the biggest thing was like, yeah, like you say, the place was like the whole expedition and how you head out on ice was definitely a man's world. Like Michelle, you were probably one of the only female on the team, likely, me as well. And there's times where they might have a washroom tent, but most times if it's just the team, it's like guys turn around, like I'll hide behind like the sled, and you have to have like immense trust, like Monika talked about, like going out into the dark with men, strange men that you meet online. It was a lot about that. Like you have to trust your team and trust that you have allies amongst men. And I'm grateful for the men that have been amazing, supportive of women being out there. So
yeah, awesome. All right, Tzara.
Yeah, well, I thought about it, and it's not a cute experience though, but it's not a wildlife, but it's a human experience. Let's say that has been really as a human experience, it has been more difficult, but I'll say it. I think in the worst place or in the most difficult place my camera bring me to, it's when I had to do for a newspaper a subject about a family who one of his son has died because of the other who killed him, and I had to go with my camera and shoot the family and ask and go into the house in the family and ask questions and
wow,
and everything. I think this is more like and in photojournalism, photo reporter, you're alone. You don't have any team. You're just going alone. Sometimes you have a journalist with you, but so those are kinds of places that you learn fast how to gauge people. And I think this is one of the most first difficult place I had to be with my camera. Like as a wildlife, sometimes you have to challenge yourself, and it's totally different, but it's difficult too. It's just to
absolutely
go in the family and say, okay, I have to take some pictures of the drama you're living right now and how you feel about it. So that's one of them. Or to take some dead bodies in pictures too while it's just happening. There's blood everywhere. Those are like experiences that I've lived then that forged my personality too.
Yeah, and that takes you on a whole different emotional journey as well. Like you said, you're alone, but you're documenting something incredibly important. But so it's almost like you have to just close off those feelings, that you're naturally going to have in order for you to create. I mean, it's a whole different ballgame, right? So you're battling those emotions while you're trying to create something that's very, very important and needs to be done.
It's a mixed feeling. I'll say it's a mixed feelings because you have to be, depending of your subject, of course. If you're shooting a dead body and there's everyone telling you like, oh, why are you shooting them? Blah blah, they're dead. Blah blah, and they're, you're not liked in that field. Like you're not welcome here. But another story, like with that family, I would say that I needed to stay on the same kind of vibe and empathy, sorry for my accent, empathy, because I needed to feel it a little bit so I can show it better. If I don't feel it and I stay cold, how can I express the emotions that the other one is feeling? It's not just showing it, it's feeling it. Because I think that when you take a picture, you put your emotions in it and you show the emotions of what's going on in front of you. And it's a mixed emotions that has to be taken in the pictures. And when you edit the picture, you check when you're doing your editing, you check which picture is the most representative of your work and what you felt at that moment. So you cannot shut yourself completely, but with time you learn how to have cold blood. Yeah.
Oh, thank you for that. Veronique, okay, so your selfie project is no small feat. I mean, my goodness, a full month of every day being super creative with yourself and the management of it. Like, do you go in meticulously organized with like a clear plan, or is it more spontaneous and driven by inspiration in the moment? Like, how do you do this? How do you go from day to day? Do you ever sleep the month of February?
Sleep? What is sleep? I'm not considered for this.
What is that?
My brain is wired for efficiency, right? So I am prepared, but not 100%. So what I do is that every year around October, I take one trip and I just write down in this little book, like everything that comes to my mind. So that's the preparation for the project. And then I start imagining my ideas. I start writing like a plan for it. So what will be my background? What do I need for my background? What do I already have on hand? What is my character? How is she going to be dressed? I say she, but it's me. So, but I think of them as girls, like as characters, because if it's me, it's just too personal because I'm doing a personal project. I'm telling a lot of stories of myself through those characters. So if I'm dissociating with them, it's easier. So how is she gonna dress? What's the makeup that she's gonna wear? Is she gonna wear a wig? Because I hate doing my hair. Is she gonna wear jewelry? How many? Is it gonna be excessive? Is it gonna be? So I'm thinking of all these little details in advance as much as I can, because of course February is coming fast, and I'm 12 years in the process. I know myself enough to know that I need to leave a little bit of creativity, a free space for what will happen. The news is always going to inspire me. This year, I have maybe 5 new photos inspired just during the news during February. So I have to leave that openness for creativity to happen during that month. So of course I'm prepared, but I'm too procrastinator to be 100% prepared, and I love being unprepared and just jumping out with my parachute, not complete.
Your parachute, I love that. And do you surprise yourself? Like
yes.
You come up with one idea and you come out with something completely different?
I do surprise myself in many ways. Sometimes I'm just saying I'm gonna take a pictures in a pool with 2 crocodiles, and I cannot find crocodiles. It's okay. I'm gonna take the alligators. And so next thing you know, I'm in a pool almost naked with 2 alligators at my feet, and that doesn't make sense. So yes, I do surprise myself. I don't know why I do all these things, but I have so many stories to tell. So it's so much fun. I love it. I love it so much.
Okay, so the crocodiles and you have what?
Yes. If
Like,
you
they're all like, where?
8th edition, the last pictures of the 8th edition, you can go to my website. I'll leave it out or something. I am standing there, like the joke is crocodile tears. Crocodile tears. It's not over, like you can cry all you want. I'm gonna start over next year, so it's not real tears. So I'm here crying in a bathing suit with floaters in a small kiddie pool with 2 alligators at my feet, and they're real. I was there with them, and I didn't want to, but I was the one who asked for it. Nobody asked me to. So.
I was gonna say, Oh, and are you preparing? So you start October, and then you go, and that's when you start for February.
Yeah,
You start preparing in October.
Preparing, emailing, reaching out, building, and then in February 1st, I start taking the pictures. So it's a real marathon. And I try to show as much as I can through social media. So that's why there's a lot of behind the scenes. So you can really follow me during that month and live the process with me. And I have a lot of messages since March 1st saying that people need it. Like they're missing the feeling that I was bringing to them in February, and that is so touching. I cannot say how touching this is.
That's the best compliment that you can have, right? Yeah.
So I feel the people were there with me through the whole month.
Amazing. So Jenny, you're preparing to get on a flight. How much longer do we have you?
Probably like maybe 10 minutes. Okay. I'm heading to Malaysia, so.
Okay. All right. Oh, you're not coming home. You're continuing. No. Of course you are. Okay, we'll start. We'll give you this to start with. If you could give your younger self one piece of advice before picking up that first camera, what would it be? Or after? If any young person is on here wanting a career in photography or maybe struggling a little bit, is there any kind of advice that you'd give your younger self now that you're in this position as a Nikon ambassador? What would it be?
I think get to know yourself. Like, I think at the end of the day, you have photos that you take for the world and photos that you take for yourself. And even as a photographer now, it's really important to take those breaks to kind of reconnect with the things that got you into photography, the passion. There are a lot of jobs that you take. Not everything is going to align with necessarily you might not have that freedom of creativity on a job all the time. So make sure you have projects that you have, like, or even just moments of just exploring or creating new techniques for yourself, learning new techniques, being inspired by new genres of photography, and build community. So participating, I think how I've gotten so far has been a lot about community and the people that I know, the friends that I've met. They've taught me everything that I know in photography. I am self-taught in a way, but I have had so many mentors. I've looked at so many of your photos as well as others, and I've learned through them and through Facebook groups and WhatsApp groups. They build community, and when you get there, when you're at that finish line or you become a Nikon ambassador, always give back and always continue to be part of that community.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And yeah, allowing yourself to find maybe or discover a genre that you might not know that you had interest in, but always pulling, like if you're on Instagram or Facebook or you have people that you follow in particular that that you're inspired, and it goes for all of you. When I look at your work and you kind of take pieces, and no matter what kind of photography we all do, you just kind of take those little pieces from everybody and make it your own, and that helps build your character and your body of work as well, because that's ultimately what we really want to be known for, right? Is our body of work, and that people can look at our images and say, okay, that I know who that is, without even really looking at the name. If people can identify your work, it's an incredible gift, that you're able to build that your body of work that is recognizable. Thank you for that. Monika, your younger self, or somebody new.
I think something that kind of worked out for me and I think is very important is the ability to be yourself and to be authentic and to kind of do what feels correct for you, not necessarily what's expected. I think our team here, the 6 of us, we're all very unique. You're all fantastic people. I'm so glad to know you. And our fellow ambassadors that aren't here today. Yes. And a big thank you to Nikon for giving us all a chance. Like, we're all such different people.
Yeah. That's awesome. Victoria, are you done? Did I interrupt you?
No, I'm good.
Okay, good. All of a sudden it's like, oh, Victoria.
I think really sort of building on what everybody has already said, which I think is that ultimately, really, we want to see the world through your eyes. We don't. That's what I would tell any young photographer or anybody starting out, is that you can see images that you like and you can try to replicate them, but at the end of the day, what makes you unique is your own vision of the world, and that's what we want to see. So we want to experience the world through your eyes, and that's how do you feel in that situation? What was your reaction to that particular thing? And that's what makes your work unique. So really lean into who you are. Like Monika was also saying, we're all really saying the same thing, is lean into yourself and who you are, and let's see the world through your eyes. That's what makes you different to everybody else.
And I think no matter, again, where you are in your career, it can be intimidating. You're revealing yourself to the world. It's your creativity, it's your work, it's your vision. And being, as you both have said, and Jenny as well, that you staying true to it and being strong about it. And you're not going to necessarily make everybody happy, but for those people that want to revisit your work, Veronique, when they're craving your daily post, those are the people that you want in your pocket, in your world. And just staying true. I agree. It's so important. And having the courage, right? We need the courage to put ourselves out there.
And it can take time to know what your vision of the world is. Like, you don't feel like, I don't know, but try to lean into what is uniquely you, because it can take time to figure that out. So don't put too much pressure on yourself. Yeah. But ultimately, that's, I think, what we want to see is how do you see the world?
Yeah. Thank you. Veronique?
Yes, I would say 2 things to my younger version. But before I answer, I would like to say, Michelle, I would love to hear you answer this question as well.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Yes, please. At the end of the tour, I would like to hear your answer. So there's 2 things I would say to my younger self, or anybody that starts. It's trust the process. I started 12 years ago not knowing much about photography, and it shows. The first edition 12 years ago is not so fancy, but I evolved through the process, and it's palpable. You can really see the progress. So trust the process. And the second thing I will say is that imperfection is key. Not perfection, imperfection. Be yourself, be original, be human, do mistakes. It's all enriching so much, and it's where I think the magic of humanity happens. More and more, I like to listen to radio and talk and hear people talk and not talk properly sometimes, just because it's imperfect, and imperfection is what is key. So yes, 2 things.
I love it. Okay, Tzara?
Well, I was about to say the same thing as Veronique, and so I'm always working with trust the process, and imperfection is perfection, actually, because everything is beautiful when it's not perfect. When it's perfect, it sounds fake. When it's not perfect, it sounds more real and authentic. So I don't want to say the same thing as Veronique, but I just want to really agree with her. And I would say that what I could say to me as a young photographer, drop the camera and do something else. No, I'm joking. It's I think I would say, like, stop being so comparative to everyone else. Like, stop wanting to be 20 years old pro photographer when you just started. Stop to put yourself too much pressure. Just trust the process, and Yeah, that would be this, and that would be like, you can trust yourself, trust the process, and trust yourself. Whatever happens,
Yeah.
and it's four. I say four thing because I was agreeing with Veronique. So
Yeah. Well, and it's staying true to that path. You know, a lot of times we think it's a straight path, and just knowing that when those curves come in, that you manage to take those curves, and you'll end up back. You know, and staying committed and being passionate and being true to yourself. All
Yeah.
the same messages, right? Yeah.
But there's something I can put more in there is that when you feel comfortable, change what you're doing. When you're too comfortable with something, when you get a kind of a recipe, it's a win-win recipe, blah blah blah. When you feel that, change it, because you're gonna be bored, and then you're gonna ask yourself questions, and then you're gonna have to ask another way to find something else fun to do, because you so I guess like when you get something like working or comfort zone or recipe, change it.
Yeah. Get out of that
Try
comfort
a
zone.
new lens, try something else, ask questions differently. Anyway, change something.
Yep. Like long exposures with landscape photography.
Yeah, I like you did. So your turn.
Myself. Oh my goodness. Okay, so this is for all of you. What's in your camera bag that might surprise you? Us, not you. We don't want to surprise yourself. We want to surprise everybody. What would be in your camera bag that's surprising that nobody would expect?
A snack, always.
What? Snack?
Yeah, just peanuts, like
Smart.
Tender Bar. That's surprising.
It's very smart. Always have that, that nutrition and protein when you might need it. Yeah.
The real answer will be the remote, the WRRT11 remote that Nikon does. As a key photographer, that's always useful for long exposure, for whatever your needs are. If you need to shutter remotely, that's the key.
That's the key. Awesome. What's the model again? So if anyone's listening.
WRRT11, something like that. I think. I'm pretty sure. RT11. Yes, I'm sure.
There you go. You're right. You're right. You're right. Jenny, is there anything in your camera bag that would surprise us?
I don't know. I think snacks are a big deal. I mean, on a small trip, I'll bring like some snacks in my camera bag, but often I'll just, in the Arctic, I bring an entire suitcase of snacks, like an entire box about this big. Shipped to the Arctic with snacks. So snacks are very, very important. Makes everybody happy, makes your guides happy, makes, you know, right. I buy love. I'd say like, I don't know. My bag's pretty simple. I try to pack pretty light, even though it's not. Like this is
that's bigger than you are.
Light.
Yes.
How much does that weigh?
17 pounds, but I lightened it because I would have been way, way over. It's already over. I had to pay for, I'm on flying super cheap airline, Air Asia. So I had to pay for extra weight for this guy. But my mom has my 800. I had to split up all my gear, and she has my drone. I have dive equipment in here. Like I have my dive computer in here. So maybe that's weird. Dive lights. Yeah, so there's a whole bunch of stuff in here. It's heavier than it looks.
Look at her holding it like a baby. So yeah, that's really important to have somebody to travel with, so you could give your mom your 800 millimeter. That's hilarious.
Yeah, like so this trip is a family trip, and we're doing like Asia for a month. So after Malaysia, we're heading to Singapore. And it helps because she can speak all the languages in the area. She speaks like 5 or 6 different languages. So she's my translator for a story that I'm following. So it's great.
That's awesome. And do you speak any other languages? Can you?
I can understand. Yeah, I can speak Cantonese, Mandarin, or Mandarin. I'm trying to learn. Taiwanese, I can understand, and I can speak a little bit. English, of course. So those 3 languages are kind of pretty like you get by in Asia, in those countries that I'm in Taiwan, Singapore, and in Malaysia. Yeah. So, but she can speak it fluently. So I just rely on her.
And to carry your 800 millimeters.
That's the best. She's like, it's so heavy, and my drone. I'm like, Mom, you have to remember, because she's coming later. She's like, I'm not going to the airport that early. So she's like, I'm like, just remember to take the drone out when you go through security. They want it out. So she's just a trooper. So she's going into like the rainforest with me. So we'll see.
Oh, that's great. Fantastic. Are you going to make her carry your equipment too in there?
No. I'll be carrying all of her. That's the deal. When we get there, when we're hiking, I carry everything. So I carry all her water, everything. So it's good.
Oh, perfect. Perfect. Monika, is there anything in your camera bag that might surprise us? Snacks too?
Yeah, always snacks, but I don't think that would surprise anyone that knows me because I love snacks. I usually have a book, my Kindle, so that might be surprising, just in case. Waiting around. Aurora doesn't show up. Read a book for a bit.
Oh, how do you pick?
Okay, I gotta go. So ciao.
Bye. Safe
travels.
Bye.
Okay.
Safe travels. Bye, Jenny.
See ya.
So yeah, a book. So what do you like to read?
Science fiction, fantasy, usually. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Do you have a little, like, you use your little headlamp or?
No, I have the Kindle that like lights up, so don't need the headlamp. But yeah.
Perfect. Oh, that's awesome. Victoria?
I was just trying to think of what I have that I don't think I have anything that would be surprising. I mean, I have a headlamp. Usually I just keep a headlamp in there, which is always handy in case, you're out in the dark. You can light up a mushroom. There's a few possible things. You have to go into a washroom and it's really dark. Having a headlamp is handy. I usually have dog poop bags in there, which can also be handy. You can pick up garbage. You can, I don't know. But I honestly,
I never thought of that.
Yeah, I mean, they have been useful for things. Sometimes I've even used a dog poop bag to put over my camera and lens if I'm by a waterfall and there's loads of spray. I can make a hole in the end, and then so I have those, but just because I have a dog, so that's why I have the poop bags. But they can be useful. And then snacks, always snacks.
Always snacks. Yeah. And Tzara, how about you?
Well, I don't have any snacks, but I have a lot of photographers that have snacks. So I use a knife. I have a knife with me that I put in my, it's the small knife that I can cut everything with it. Snacks. I have like duct tape. I have like, what do I have? Like Advils, like whatever happens, when you're a woman, sometimes headaches, whatever, periods, you need to have those. Yeah, I got it. So I have everything to eat the snacks of my friends, and duct tape and whatever I need, like, how do you call this? Like tournevis. Veronique, how do you call it?
Screwdriver.
Screwdriver. Here you go. Screwdrivers. Yeah, and 5 cents. So sometimes you can.
Oh yeah.
Here you go.
Your nickel. That's awesome. Okay, so second last question. We're going on a little over an hour now, so it's just been awesome to hear from all of you. If you were on a deserted island with your camera and you can only take one lens, what would it be and why? What lens would you take?
What kind of island is it?
Hey, that's good. That's a good question. I don't know.
Imagine what kind. Is it snowy? Is it
tropical? No, tropical. Let's go tropical, because if you're on a deserted island, it's got to be tropical.
Okay.
For sure. Go for it, Tzara.
Is there it's tropical, so there's a lot of animals, and is there humans there or not?
We're not sure. Because
it's your island. Your island. You pick.
It is deserted, so I don't think
deserted.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'll take I take when I travel. I mean, like a small camera and a 1650, maybe my new 1735 millimeters 2.8.
Oh, are you liking it?
Yeah, I do. I'm just starting to get try to do portraits with that, which is trying to get myself out of my comfort zone right now. But yeah, probably will travel light with those with a Z6 III and my 7035 2.8. So it's light. You can use it. You can run. You can do whatever with it.
Yeah, because if you have to run away from the alligators,
Tigers. There's tigers. But they're so cute, but I want to shoot them really close before I can run. So, like, yeah, something like that.
All right, Veronique, what lens would you take?
I will probably go for a lens I don't own already. I will go with the 180 600. I think it would be interesting to just learn. I think I'll have a lot of time on a deserted island to learn how a new lens work, and I'll try to take some bird shots, water shots, and it can also help with animals if I need to defend myself, and if I need to light a fire, I'm sure the zoom will help me out. So yes, I think I'll go for that. Efficiency.
See, you are methodical. I mean, you're thinking 1,000 steps ahead, you know?
And you know, with the lens cap, I can even dig, you know, like it's many options.
Unbelievable. And then you have the lens shade too that could help as well. I like your defense part.
Some shades, you know.
And Monika?
Yeah. Well, deserted islands are probably pretty dark, so 14 to 24 f2.8.
Somehow I knew you would say that.
I'd hide from the sun all day, and then, you know.
Yeah, no light pollution. Right? It's awesome. Awesome. And Victoria?
Probably the 24 to 200, which seems to live on my camera a lot. And
you cover everything.
Yeah, so I can shoot, you know, wider scenes. I can shoot, you know, longer stuff. I can also shoot intimate scenes with it, like it. And if the weather's bad, I don't have to change it. You know, like it lives on my camera a lot. It would be that one. Yeah.
Awesome. How is your dog doing? How's Jack doing?
He's good. Yeah, not bad. Yeah, not doing too badly, thank you. Yeah.
Does he still go out with you? I love your photos.
Yeah, he's got Cushing's disease, and so he's, you know, his health isn't as good as it was, but he's actually doing well with it. He's on medication and doing really well. So yeah, thank you.
Awesome. All right. So the last question, what's next? You know, what's next for you? Veronique, after finishing, you know, your selfie project for the whole month of February, do you take a break, or do you just head right back into work? And do you need to just take the time to kind of
I'm gonna
recover?
Something weird, but my ego is boosted in February, so I always take the month of March off just to readjust and becoming a normal person, because for the past 2 months I've been running around trying to build something out of my head, you know, like it's been draining all my financial, physical, emotional energy I have. So during the month of March I just need to slow down and relearn to live through a routine, discipline, good eating and stuff. So that's my focus right now.
Awesome. Monika, are you doing any upcoming workshops between now and Light Chasers?
Yeah, well, I'm going to Finland next week.
Oh,
yes.
Nice.
It'll be fun.
So do you go back there every year?
Yeah, so far. This will be my 4th time. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. And then right after that, I think I'm back for a few weeks, and then Victoria and I are headed to Haida.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
And you're doing, is that another women's workshop in Haida?
No, it's not women's, but we have a good group. We have a good mixed group coming for that one.
And how many people are in that?
10. Yeah.
Fantastic. Mm-hmm. And you're right in your next project, Victoria, right? Starting it, exciting. It's a fresh, you know, new, everything is just about to happen. And yeah,
the rain is about to happen, but yes.
Is it going to be raining all week, or?
No, we've had really beautiful weather today. It's gorgeous, sunshine, but then just checking the forecast. I mean, this is the West Coast, so it could change, but we're in for rain. So we'll see. But I mean, as I said at the beginning, that's not a reason to not, you know, to not photograph. We don't know what we will encounter. So
Oh, exactly. Rain adds a whole, especially to Fino and the ocean, and
yeah,
there's so much mood. Like it becomes so moody and dramatic. Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
And with that forecast, right? Phew,
Yeah.
whatever. We just did that in Patagonia. It was like it was supposed to rain all day and whatever. Like if we listened to that and didn't go out for the sunrise, it would have been devastating, right? So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, never trust it, still go. You never know what you're going to find.
yeah, exactly. Well, and Tzara, how about you?
Well, I think I'm going to prepare my first workshop for portrait photography, and with someone that is some actress or actor that is known here in Quebec. Well, yeah, and I think I'm gonna see what I can do with that exhibition about with my flamingos, where I can bring them out or develop that collection. And the next step is always the same step: is seeing what life brings to me and do something about it. The type of, not, as I said earlier, I'm not the one planning so much, because there's a lot of things that are coming without planning. So waiting for the next surprise that life brings there.
Your flamingos, you just had an exhibition, did you not?
That's one of my
Stunning
collection right now. Yeah, it's
And is it still in gallery, or is that?
It's everywhere, but in Montreal in gallery. There's in Mael Gallery, which is on St. Paul Street in the old port of Montreal, and there's one in Saint Albert too, which is it's called Sriz. It's SRIIZ, and yeah, I don't know how to say this in English. I'm not sure you can pronounce it in English, but anyway. So yeah, and then after, I'm going to see if I can get other gallery everywhere in Quebec, or in the United States, and somewhere in Canada, or things like this.
Oh, that's great. So can everyone just say they're pretty easy. You're pretty easy to find, but maybe your Instagram handle and your website, if you could just let everyone know. We'll start with Victoria, and if they want to find out more about your workshops, or look at your work in deeper levels, that would be great. And we'll just go around, and if you could do that, that would be great.
Sure. You will never be able to spell my name, but it's victoriaharkphotography.ca is my website, and Victoria is spelled with a K, and Hark is HAACK. And then Instagram is just at Victoria Hark.
Okay.
Good luck with the spelling. Good luck with finding me.
Okay. And right after we do this, we're going to have a couple of questions from the audience, if that's okay.
Sure.
All right. And Monika?
Yeah, so my website is monikadeviatphotography.com. Monika also with a K. It's an Eastern European thing. I don't know where yours came from, Victoria. Yeah, and socials are also all under my name, Monika Deviat.
Okay. Veronique?
Veronique Duplain, sofrench.com. No, just veroniqueduplain.com. Instagram is the letter V Duplain, DUPLAIN. So yeah.
Awesome. And Tzara?
Well, like Victoria, it's going to be hard to spell, but Tzara's TZARAMAUD, Tzara Mode, TzaraMode.com, or Tzara Mode on Instagram, or even Facebook. You can find me there. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Okay, so maybe we can get a question from the audience to come up. Sure. Somehow it's magically, oh, look at that, it came up. I love when things work. All right, can you guys see that too? Any tips on how to embrace and stay true to your own creative voices in this world of social media? Very good question. Victoria, would you want to start, or anybody want to take that?
Sure. So any tips on how to embrace and stay true to your own creative voices in this world? I think really just, not worrying too much about the reactions, not worrying about the number of likes that you get, or, so really just putting out there what you choose to put out there, and trying not to spend a lot of time worrying about the fact that maybe you don't have a lot of likes on an image or something. And I know certainly for myself, because I shoot multiple different subjects, I know that certain subjects will potentially have a better reaction from people in the social media world than others. But that doesn't stop me from still putting them out there, because I still want to be able to share what I want to share. So I think, basically just don't worry too much. Don't overthink it. If you want to put it out there, put it out there.
Mm-hmm.
I
And
think
don't be dependent on the likes, like you said.
Yes, don't let that dictate which direction you go, because there are certain images that are inevitably going to do better on social media, and that doesn't mean that you have to follow those likes. You do what you want to do.
Yeah.
I would say the same thing. I have multiple kind of subjects, going from nature to portraits to hockey players to, so I cannot decide which is my audience. They like my style, they don't, I don't know. So I think that's a good way to just to be sure. I think the best way to say is, do I like it? If I like it, I put it, and we'll see it. And I think it's the best way to do it. Imagine that social media wouldn't exist, and you were supposed to portfolio to go somewhere to show to someone what kind of picture would you show. So stop thinking about what everybody would think, and ask yourself, do I like it? Does it shows my way of thinking? Does it shows my values? Does it shows what I am? And do I agree with that or not?
That's
and
awesome.
even if the people on your picture don't like it, you can try to put it anyway. Well,
no, that's awesome. All right. Do we have another question?
Magic.
Do you have any practices used to get into a creative headspace? Veronique, I would love to hear about this with you because of what you just did.
Well, I did. Thank you. Well, I did. And Flora, thank you for both questions. They're great questions. I did talk about my process a little bit earlier. But yeah, I think my best tool is to write. Okay, write down and really take a pen, and write down on paper, because that slows you down. Writing on a computer is so fast, and then you get stimulated with all those notifications and everything. But write down with a piece of paper with your phone far away on do not disturb, that's where you're in your head space. That's where you're you and you with no distraction. And that's the best moment to create. So write down whatever comes to mind. In my book, it's all the things that we do in regular life, like do the dish, put on socks, and all these things. And then that helps me create a whole project based on everyday life, But that's how I do my process. So my best advice is to write down, and through the uncomfortable process of writing down, because it's too slow, that's where the magic happens.
I love that. And I love that you're showing us that pen too. It's like, remember?
I love it. I write down a lot.
Oh, that's awesome. And I like that, slowing down, and you're not seeing that notification and going to your email or getting distracted. And yeah, that's awesome. And Monika, what about you?
Sometimes it's the music. Like if I'm going to drive somewhere, or even just editing, the music that I pick. Well, yes, I do listen to heavy metal. There are lots of genres, subgenres, and styles, so you can kind of match it to what you're doing. And sometimes for me, it's a little bit about getting rid of distractions, whether that is, going off the grid so nobody can get hold of me, getting away from people. I mean, I love going out shooting with my friends and, taking clients out and stuff. But sometimes when I just want to work on something, it helps to be away from everything and just be able to really delve into what I want to do.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. All right. Another question.
Michelle, you have to tell us about yourself. We have all talked and we need to hear you.
I am a moderator tonight.
I know, but you have so much knowledge, so much stories to tell, and I would love to hear some.
Oh, maybe the next time you can be the moderator.
No.
She won't talk. Come on, just one. Come on, just one answer. Just tell us what would you say to your younger self?
Well, now we're going right off of the question here, but I could say I love to walk with my dog. I love to just go out into nature or go up the lake or go out in my kayak and just, as you've all said, you know, it's just disappearing from the distractions of life, you know, and find what makes you happy, what drives your creativity spirit, and, you know, what really fills your soul. And if that's, you know, however that comes to you, that's for me what and how it just naturally happens, right? When you have that moment in nature, or a moment with an animal. For me, it's, you know, the loons at the lake, or yeah, the solitude, the solitude breeds the creativity for me as well. All right, do we have another question?
I do have one for you. How's going your movie right now?
How's my movie going? Oh, it's good. Yeah, I'm trying to source some the money. Yeah, I'm writing grants and I'm trying to get some funding in. And Mike is away right now, so I'm doing a documentary called Breathe in the World, Breathe Out Music. You all saw my highlight reel. So yeah, it's a process, right? It's a big undertaking, and I think as well that, you know, when I was building my career and doing weddings and portraits and anything and everything, and I did start in the video side of the business. You know, you're getting paid to do jobs, and it's when you get yourself out of that and you're doing your own creative projects, I think that's what really also ignites your creativity and gives you the passion and keeps that passion alive as well. Because, you know, if you're not doing it for yourself and you're only doing it for clients and trying to meet expectations, sometimes we don't always meet expectations of other people. But if you're doing it on your own, I think it can just really be so beneficial and great for I keep going like this to my heart, you know, good for the soul. So, it makes you stronger. So thank you for asking. It's a process for sure. My first documentary. Yeah. But, you know, it's right with anything. If we don't know how to do it, we'll figure it out. And when it's right, you know, it's right, and you believe in it and you work really hard at it, things will come to you. And that's what I believe.
That's a good answer to the last question too.
You're all, yeah. That's not my job tonight. But you asked me a question, it takes a long time to answer.
No, it's perfect. It was perfect. It was perfect.
Do we have any more questions, Chris, or is that pretty good? Okay. I think that's good.
We're good to wrap up, I think.
Yeah, I think I just want to thank all of you for taking the time in your hugely busy schedule and, you know, recuperating from massive projects, heading into more. I know I'm going to sleep so much better tomorrow now that I'm home. And I have an exhibition opening on Saturday as well for International Women's Day. Yeah, and again, going out of my comfort zone, it's on infrared and more animalscapes and landscapes from, I even got 2 in from Patagonia, which is super cool because I just got home and I was able to upload them. I wasn't sure I was going to be able to do that. From Portugal, Africa, Great Bear Rainforest, Kutsumitine, and Yellowstone and Patagonia. So that's opening on Saturday as well. So maybe Sunday I'll sleep. Yeah, I can't wait for this to happen again. And I do think that we need to find our own little workshop to do, so we can bring in the pole dancing, the wildlife, the people, the portraits, the landscape, long exposures. Wouldn't that be fun? How we
and the snacks. Don't forget the snacks.
Yeah, the snacks. I think we're covered with that department.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be fun to be creative together and each take our own, you know, give each other a challenge. And I think that's really fun too. You know, that if you say, okay, I want, you know, outside of your comfort zone, you go photograph this, and or take that one lens and figure out how to work that 180 to 600 and in a scenario you wouldn't necessarily take it out in, and how you create, because we have so much in our disposal, right? We have a lot of opportunities, and sometimes when you're limited, it gives you a little bit more strength to figure out a way that you can rework a scene with a little bit of limitations, right?
Yep.
So good luck with your flamingos and your exhibition. Sadly, I'm not going to be able to make it out to Light Chasers with Shane and Monika and Victoria. And so thank you so much. And thank you all. If you're still here, thank you for joining in, and happy International Women's Day. And again, thank you to Nikon Canada for bringing us all together and making this happen. It's pretty darn special.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nikon. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, all of you. I love you.
Not anymore. So let's do it all at the same time. Okay, one.
I'm not doing the heart with my hands. I'm not doing that. I'm like,
okay, wait.
1 piece.
1, 2, 3.
Someone take a screenshot.
Or you do this. Or you do that.
I'm not doing that.
We were doing this before we were going live. We were doing all this. Oh, there you go. What a way to end. Okay, good night.
Ordinary moments that people may not notice when they're moving so fast. Daily life becomes cinematic.
What's good about having a good autofocus is that you don't have to worry about the technical aspect of the shot. Instead, you can focus more on the situation itself. I think what I like most about the camera is how compact and light it is, yet it does not limit you. Color brings out emotions.
It gives you a sense of individuality to a scene that maybe complements your own personality. If I had this camera starting out, it probably would have helped me a lot. Is a camera complicated to use? It doesn't have to be.
It's just you and your subject. Intimate, no distractions.
It's like seeing the world in a new way.